We are very proud to announce UMP Trading is an official partner with a proven profit track record.
Yeah, if you want great returns on your investments, be sure to check out UMP Trading.
Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuned into our channel, American Ultra Stock. Here we are. Now we're back onto the regular program. No more international break to bore us to death. I'm joined by Braden, Shrey, and where is he? Jeff right there in the dark, the Batman himself. We're here to talk to you guys about a really fun video, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure all of us here have played. Everyone's watching, probably played at some point in their lives. FIFA, now they're getting renamed EAFC 24. They just released the overall ratings for the American players. And I'm going to read through the first 10, the top 10 rated. And it's sad to say our best rated player is under the 80s. Pulley got a 79. Balogun got a 79. Tyler Adams a 78 alongside Gio Reyna, who also got that. Matt Turner with a 77. Weston Fat McKinney back to Skinny McKinney at 76. Serge Dest with 76 as well. I mean, that's shocking. Jedi with a 76. Walker Zimmerman with a 76. And CCV as well. Those are our top 10 players in the game. Initial thoughts, Braden, just your initial reaction. We'll get into the underrated, overrated, but what do you think straight off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, straight off the bat, I think we've kind of been disrespected a little bit here. Not specifically one player in particular, but I just think as a nation, I mean, you'll see the full list will be posted on our Instagram. But I think a lot of our players are severely underrated. And starting at the top, I mean, Pulisic, sure, he didn't have the best season at Chelsea. That's understandable. But he showed up when it mattered most in the World Cup. He was great there. So, I mean, I understand a downgrade maybe. I think he was like at 82, 83 last year. I understand maybe 81, 80. But there's no way he should be under an 80. And Balogun as well had one of the best seasons for a striker in all of Europe last year. And honestly, I think if he was English, if he had the England flag by his name, I think he'd be an 80 at least. So that was my initial reaction. Also, Walker Zimmerman being tied for our best center back is laughable.
Yeah, I agree with that. Shrey, any things that stick out to you right away?
Yeah, honestly, Braden summed it up really well, but Pulisic 79, I think that's pretty disrespectful. I think he should honestly be like 82, 83. 83 would be like my ideal rating. He's having a great start to the season for Milan. Didn't have the best of games today versus Inter, but still wasn't the reason that they lost today at all. Balogun also after the season he had like 22 goals last season. 79's pretty disrespectful in my opinion. Should be in the low 80s at least in my opinion. Adams is honestly 78. It's honestly fair to me. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's fair given the season that he had with injuries and stuff. I think he can definitely push towards the 80s for sure after the season. And yeah, Zimmerman with a 76. That is absolutely laughable. That honestly that is like the worst rating out of all of our American players. I'm not gonna lie. Zimmerman at 76 is absolutely laughable. So yeah, honestly, that's all I have to add. But 76 for Zimmerman, I'm sorry, that's horrific from EA there.
All right, Jeff. Before we get into the most underrated, overrated, anything that sticks out to you as a shock here?
Well, the fact that you guys didn't mention this, it kind of shocked me more than what I'm seeing shocks me. Only 3 of our players are rares. You know, the rest of them are non-rares. You know, Balogun is a non-rare. Obviously, Pulisic is a non-rare, and the fact that they're higher rated than the likes of CCV and Robinson, and yet they're not even rare. That's a bit disrespectful, you know. And another one that's shocking for me is that Reyna took a pretty big downgrade, and he got a position change now. If you didn't realize that, he got a position change. He's no longer a cam. He's a right mid, and the fact that he's a non-rare and Robinson is a rare. It really shocks me and pains me. It really does. And the fact that Christian Roldan is one of the top high-rated players for us is definitely very laughable. Took the words right out of Shrey's mouth saying that. Really laughable. And yeah, I'm really disgusted by what I'm seeing here. And the fact that Pulisic is no longer in the 80s, you know, being one of our only players being in the 80s for like the past three, I hope I don't get sued for this. The past three FIFA games before it became EAFC, and now he took a big hit, not even in the 80s anymore. Really, really saddens me.
All right, that's the top 10. Now I'm going to the next 10. So we're going to have a top 20 and then go dive into the most underrated and overrated, if any of them are overrated here. So after CCV at 76, we got Jesus Pereira, the Pirate of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp himself, 76 as well. John Brooks with a 76 as well. That's a solid rating for him. Zach Steffen with a 75. Christian Roldan, 75. Georgi Mihailovic, 75. Tim Weah with a 74, just like Musa and Chris Richards and Brandon Aronson. Then we got Malik Tillman, Mackenzie, Scally, and Haji Wright. Everyone with a 74. It seems like that was the rating that the Canadians over at EA thought was fair for our national team. So having said all that and keeping in mind our top 10, Braden, who are the most underrated players in this list and overrated players, if you think any of them are overrated here? And if you want to point out a rating that you think was a spot on and that's fair, go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing that I've noticed about EA and FIFA is they don't seem to give downgrades. Like, you've got Christian Roldan and Zach Steffen there at a 75. It's like, maybe, okay, in the past, maybe they deserved it. You know, when Steffen was City's backup, when Roldan was in his prime at Sounders, I mean, he was a pretty solid player. But the fact that they don't give downgrades, like, at all, and they don't change the ratings, it's just kind of weird to me. Because you've got these players who are struggling. I mean, Zach Steffen basically is unemployed, let's be honest. I mean, obviously he's still getting paid by Man City, but he's never going to play for them. He's like fourth choice now. Christian Roldan is absolutely finished. And another thing is Georgi Mihailovic. He had the MLS bias. I feel like a lot of the highest MLS players are rated, I think they're rated fairly, but they're rated above our European players, which I think is a bit obscene. And even though Mihailovic is in Europe now, he didn't get that downgrade because they don't ever change MLS players' ratings. They just always stay the same no matter what. So he's like the third highest rated player at his club despite being a bench warmer. So EA needs to fix that. I will say maybe some people will be like, oh, it's Canadian bias, but they did also underrate Jonathan David. So I don't think it's that. I think they're just generally horrible and don't watch the actual game. But yeah, I don't think... Some people might say that Ferreira's overrated at a 76. I think he shouldn't be like top 10, like tied for top 10 out of our players. But I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a pretty solid striker. I just think all of our players are underrated. Like Weah being below him, Musa, Aronson, Richards, who's probably our best center back, Tillman. Like all of this is ridiculous. All these players being so low.
All right, that's fair. Shrey, what about you? Who are the most underrated players here? Braden didn't find any fairly rated players, but who do you think is spot on or overrated here?
Alright, I may have to change my pick as worst pick. I don't think it's Walker Zimmerman anymore after looking at the list once again. I think the Roldan and Zach Steffen one is absolutely horrific, as Braden said. I mean, Zach Steffen, like, what is he like at Man City? What, like Brandon said, fourth choice, third choice? Like he's clearly not the backup. He's not in their plans. Honestly, he needs to go back to MLS. But I mean, will he even start for a team in MLS right now? Like it's really not looking great for him right now. But look, he definitely shouldn't be a 75. Like no disrespect to the guy. He used to be really good for us, but he needs to find a place where he'll get some game time. Yeah, Weah at 74 is really disrespectful in my opinion. I think he needs to be at the very least, or not very least, I think he needs to be in the high 70s for sure. I think at Lille, he's clearly shown at Lille and now at Juve. Obviously, he's kind of in a battle with Wes for that right wing back position at Juve. But look, he definitely should not be a 74. He needs to be in the high 70s in my opinion. Mihailovic at 75 is pretty ridiculous to me. He should be low 70s or even honestly like a 69 or like 68. He hasn't really shown much as a Dagmar, and if anyone really watched the Cold Pup, you guys can remember how poor Mihailovic was there. So the fact that he's ahead of Weah, Aronson, Scally, McKenzie is absolutely laughable to me. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to say I didn't say my takes on it. I think that a lot of our main players are underrated, but I feel like some of them are really spot on. Like, I think that Balogun is fair. Some people think he's underrated. I think he's fine. I think he's actually quite high, 79, honestly. I think if he was at 77, 78, that would be fair. It's just the beginning of his career. He had one good season. Pulley is so underrated. I mean, I'm a Pulisic fanboy. I think that an 82 would be fair for him. 82 would be fair. The other one that sticks out to me is I didn't see, but Gio probably has an injury prone on his card or on his little character. If he does that's all right. And Jesus Ferreira 76 is like Braden said, the MLS bias pulling here. It's crazy. I think that a 75 would be fair for him. So 76 is not absurd. The only thing that is absurd is, like you said, Braden, our European-based players, they're so underrated. So it's crazy. It makes Jesus Ferreira look overrated when in fact I think he's about fair at that score. Jeff, anything that you think is ridiculous here? Who are the most underrated or overrated ones?
Yeah, so let's talk about the elephant in the room here. How the hell is Christian Roldan even in the top 10? Like, it's what really caught my eye, and the fact that he's higher rated than Weah, you know, that's really shocking there. You know, really poor, you know, calculating there by EA. You know, just shows that the Canadians like to focus more on you know, NHL more than you know, than now EAFC really. You know, it's a really kind of, you could kind of come at me saying it's a racist stereotype saying NHL that they're more focused on, but you know, it's pretty accurate to me because in no world or no planet, you know, Roldan would be higher rated than, you know, Weah, Pepe, even Musa too. Like, you know, it's awful. You know, there. And Zach Steffen, at this point, he's pretty much the water boy there for Man City. If he's really there, going to be there to be useful, he can, you know, possibly be the you know, the motivator. He can be one of the assistant coaches, or like I said, a water boy or the ball boy too. You know, he can give the ball over to Ederson and set up the goal kick for him. You know, that would really maybe show that he's useful for something. And you know, these ratings are just atrocious. Like, I wonder if like the Canadian national team are any better, you know, rated than our players are, because this is just awful. But anyways, you know, Jesus Ferreira being rated 76, it's yeah, the MLS bias there. You know, it's pretty much speaks for itself. But it shows that maybe 75 would be better. But the most underrated player here for me is Jedi Robinson, because like, look at the stats here. You know, 87 pace. That's absurd for you know, for a fullback. You know, you could really, you know, pace abuse with him. And 76 physicality is pretty decent for a left back. And 76 dribbling, which is something that, you know, doesn't really, you know, kind of is accurate, because, you know, his first touch is not the best. His dribbling is, you know, okay at best. But yeah, he's the most underrated. You know, if you're going to start with a Premier League hybrid, you know, beginners team, you really want Robinson on there, you know, especially with his stats that you see on here. It's pretty good. So yeah, he's the most underrated there on the top 10s. But yeah, this just really shocks me. It makes me disgusted, you know, and I just ate, so I might just puke looking at these ratings, you know, and the players on here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's interesting that you singled out one player as the most underrated. I'll just say I think Scally is the most underrated here. 74 for him. It's pretty harsh. I think it deserves a 77, 78. That would be completely fair in my opinion. Now moving on to the B string players according to EAFC. I'm gonna start with what I think is the most shocking rating out of all. Tim Ring, 73. Crazy. This is insane. Insanity here. Insanity FC. Tim Ring as a 73. Austin Trusty as a 73, just like Luca Del Torre, P-Fog, Brandon Vasquez. Miles Robinson is a 72, just like Ethan Horvath, Josh Sargent, Gianluca Buzio, don't mind, no comment, Jordan Morris, and Daewon Jones. Out of the 73 and 72 rated bunch, Braden, and now we can see Jeff's jumping there, but all good. Braden, who do you think sticks out as the most underrated here? Because I don't think any of them are overrated at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the continuous horrible ratings continue with the next 10 players. I mean, Tim Ream, he looks like he's lost a step this season. Let's be honest, but this rating is supposed to be based on last season, and last season he was incredible. Being probably our best center back last season was immense for Fulham, helping them finish top half, which no one expected to happen. And yeah, I think he should be up there towards the 76, especially if you're going to give the likes of Zimmerman and John Brooks CCV 76. Ream has to be up there as well. Same for Richards, by the way, from the last group. And I mean, yeah, Gianluca Busio, you mentioned him. He's a 72. It's the same thing that I said earlier. EA don't give downgrades. So Busio did show potential in the past. He looked like he could be a very promising player. So they rated him highly when he made the move to Serie A. And now that he's completely lost all of his promise, they won't downgrade him. And Tanner Tessman, who's a 68, despite having one of the best seasons for Venezia last year, won't get an upgrade because, I mean, let's be honest, Canadians aren't watching Serie B. They don't care. They don't know what's going on there. Tanner Tessman should be at least 3 ratings higher than Busio. Not saying he should be a 75. I think that might be a little premature, but Busio should go down. Tessman should go up. And yeah, I mean, last thing, Jordan Morris is higher rated than Ricardo Pepi. Just don't want to throw that out there.
Yeah, we'll get into that one later and we'll read the rest of the players. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that Tessman should be a 70 rated and Busio should be a 67 rated player. I think Tessman as a 70 is completely fair. Busio is 68, but yeah, some of these ratings are crazy. Now, going on to you, Shrey, what do you think about this? What do you think about Ream being a 73 rated player? And I mean, Jordan Morris is there somehow.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola, arguably the greatest coach of all time, last season said to Tim Ream that if he was 24, 10 years younger, he'd have him signed up for Man City. So that just shows how disrespectful a 73 is on Tim Ream. Yeah, it looks like he's not the same player he was last year. But again, as Brian said, these ratings are supposed to be according to what happened last season. And last season, he was clearly our best center back in the Prem. And yeah, according to, in my opinion, the greatest coach ever, he'd have him signed up for Man City, which is the greatest team in the world right now. So yeah, 73 is absolutely wild in my opinion. And let's see. Honestly, yeah, the ratings in general are not great, but I think honestly all I have to add about that list is just Tim Ream, 73, absolutely disgraceful.
All right, now going on to you, Jeff, and I'm gonna ask Jeff and everyone in the next round, are you gonna play with the US and field Tim Ream as your starter center back, even though he's 73 when you play the game? And what do you think about this entire list of 73 and 72 rated players, Jeff?
It's atrocious. It's really disrespectful. And, it just shows that the Canadians are pretty salty about that CONCACAF Nations League victory that we had. We danced under grave, and in return, they just shat on us by just giving these awful, atrocious ratings. And the thing that I'm seeing here is that in what world is Shaquille Moore higher rated than Luca de la Torre? Can we talk about that? Like, in what world is Shaquille Moore a better player than Luca de la Torre? It's really awful. And the fact that I'm looking over here on the website, right? So I pulled up the player ratings, right? And it shows each position on the player that they have. All right, listen to this. You're not gonna believe this. Tim Ream is listed as a reserve player along with Joe Scally. And Shaquille Moore and Kellen Acosta are listed as substitute players as soon as you log into and play FIFA 24. EAFC 24, whatever. As soon as you log in, you'll find Tim Ream and Joe Scally in the reserves, and you'll find Acosta, Shaquille Moore, and even Aaron Long as a substitute player. No, actually, Aaron Long's a starter as soon as you load up the national team, team management. It's really shocking. And the fact that also, Jordan Morris, DeAndre Yedlin, even Sean Johnson, they're right on there in the substitute bench. It's really atrocious. It's like they don't even try to even watch any of the games or even pull up any of our recent performances to see that these players are listed as starting players. It just breaks my heart. It's really shocking. But yeah, to answer your question, if I would be able to play as Tim Ream as 73 rated player, like an EAFC 24, The thing is that I'm not even I haven't even made a decision if I want to buy the game yet, because like, as soon as I saw those player animations, I thought this was the Sims version of of EAFC 24. I was like, is this the Sims or is this the brand new EAFC 24? So yeah, I'm not even sold out yet. We haven't even seen if the gameplay is the exact same as FIFA 23 or if they're just gonna change it up completely. That's what I'm not sold out on yet. And yeah, I don't know, but if I were to say that yes, I would play if I would start Tim Ream as a 7th rated player, I definitely would. I start him over Aaron Long, even though, or I start him over any of these defenders, even if he has like 36 pace, I'll still start him. Definitely, I would take it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it. I would start him 100%.
Wow, that's a ballsy move, Jeff. Before we finish the video, it's getting quite lengthy here. I want to ask that question to you guys, and also a personal one. Do you guys have this thing? Because when I'm playing, I have this realism disease where I try to be as realistic as possible, and I play, even if, let's say, Tim Ring was a 65 rated, I would play him.
Yeah.
I always try to do that, especially on career mode too. I always try to be really realistic. Would you guys play with fielding him if you're playing online? And as you're playing the game, what's the go-to team that you guys use? Brayden, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because, like you said, it's always nice to be realistic, but at the same time, the game's the game. You got to try to win. So if I was going to start with the USMNT, and also just a quick thing, we don't know who they're going to put in the squad because FIFA's national team squads are very inconsistent. I've noticed, especially with the USMNT. Like last year, they excluded a couple players when they really shouldn't have been excluded. But yeah, I don't think I could start reading with his like 56 pace or whatever it is. Probably go with McKenzie. He's 81 pace. I think our fastest center back. It's pretty good. And then Richards or maybe even CCV, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely play with the US a lot. I think we've got a good team overall. Maybe a little underrated, but some players that can be abused, like Serginho Dest has a lot of pace. Tim Weah, a lot of our outside players. But yeah, as for a team that I would use, probably Barcelona because I'm a Barca fan. Hopefully Lamine Yamal's in the game soon.
All right. What about you, Shrey? Friends are over for a EAFC tournament. Who are you picking? And would you field our lowest rated players, our low rated players that in reality are starters? Like Musa 74, we didn't say that, but I think that's crazy.
I'd always start the starters, kind of like you said here. I have like that realism complex. Like I just have to start the starters, like no matter what. Like I know a couple of years back, like Jesus Ferreira was like one of the highest rated players in the game, and like I just couldn't start him. I just could not, no matter what. I couldn't bring myself to start Ferreira, even though he is kind of a cheat code in the game. Like Ferreira is always a really good player to play with, but yeah, heck no, never with Ferreira. And yeah, I'm a Dortmund fan, so even though we've had a rough start to the season, great win today, by the way, but I'm always playing with Dortmund, always.
All right. What about you, Jeff? Surprises. Which team do you choose when you play FIFA?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one since I'm divided by two teams. So for the past two FIFA games, the most teams that I've used are Chelsea, Barca, and PSG. Those are the three teams I use the most. But yeah,
shame on
definitely
you, bro. Everybody uses PSG or Man City. Whenever I try to play a chill seasons game, everyone's using those clubs.
I would never use City. I would never use City. I have
too. Everybody uses Bayern too. But yeah, just to respond to my own question, I use Venezia career mode. I'm addicted to career mode. I can't stop playing it. It's gonna be tough now that I'm an adult to see how much FIFA I'm gonna play or EAFC. But yes, any final takes on the game? Are you guys excited to play it, or should we make a pro clubs and have some subs join? Maybe I think that would be fun. Anyways, thank you guys for the ones who watched the video this far. Thank you, Brayden, Shrey, and Jeff. We're gonna be trying to upload a lot of videos this week. Jeff wants to add something else.
Yeah. I can finally say I'm gonna use the 4-3-3-4. Remember that joke when I said the 4-3-3-4?
Yeah.
Play the clip back. Remember that. It was amazing. I'm gonna use that.
yeah, on career mode and playing the ultimate level, I feel like fielding some extra players too. But thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Stick around. This week we're gonna have we should have a lot of uploads, and we're gonna try to get back to regular schedule now. And yeah, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.